Be willing to reroute at this time because Mercury's retrograde is asking you to take action, go back over that action, improve it, make it better, and then do it one more time because third time's a charm. Welcome back, my Astro fam. Today's video, we are breaking down the Mercury retrograde happening in the zodiac energy of Aries. This is a really exciting Mercury retrograde because it's kicking off retrograde season. It is the first planet in 2024 to go retrograde, and from here on forward through the rest of the year, we are going to have more and more retrograde energy, asking us to slow down, course correct, go back over things, and making sure that we are on track with the direction we see our life going for the next 30 years. And so with that, we're going to break it all down in today's video. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Mandy Rose. I'm a relational astrologer, and I help you understand the current cosmic weather in an attempt to have better relationships. And as we move through this Mercury retrograde video, it's very important to understand that Mercury as a planet, as a life coach, is monumental in helping us have better relationships because Mercury represents communication, how we express, how we speak, how we share information with one another, and also how we're hearing and receiving and understanding the information that's being given to us. Now, when Mercury goes retrograde, everyone panics because Mercury deals with communication. And when he's retrograde, communication goes totally wonky. Whether that's you being in a fight with your partner and not being able to understand each other, whether that's through technology and social media and people saying things they don't mean or accidentally sending the wrong text to the wrong person, all these inconveniences happen around Mercury retrograde. So I'm here today to help you navigate this energy. This is also going to be very, very important because it's happening at the time of the new moon total solar eclipse happening also in Aries. So we have a lot of Aries energy in the sky. So we're going to break that all down today. We're first going to talk about what does Mercury and Aries represent. We're going to talk a little bit more deeper about this retrograde itself and what is the energy that you can be feeling. I'm going to give you some advice and some tips on how to navigate this energy. And we're also going to go through a date by date breakdown. Dates you want to mark on the calendar as we understand Mercury's journey through the zodiac energy of Aries, a place in the sky that he's going to be for over 2 months. Mercury typically zips through a zodiac sign in about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. So when we have him here in Aries for over 2 months, this is an area of our life, wherever Aries rules in your birth chart, that you're going to get a little extra attention and a little extra time of Mercury teaching you a lesson here. So we'll break all of that down today. Also understanding, big broad overview, is that this year in the astrological weather, we are calling it a fire year because we're having Mercury retrograde through all the fire signs. So through the entire year of 2024, Mercury will be in a fire sign for 6 months. So during this specific retrograde, he'll be retrograding through Aries, this summer retrograding through Leo, and at the end of 2024 through the zodiac energy of Sagittarius. This, again, reminds us that Mercury will be spending an extra amount of time in the energy of fire. And what does fire mean? It is boldness, it is passion, it is speaking directly, it is initiating, it is doing something about something in the direction of your passion. And Mercury in Aries kicking off retrograde season is going to help us do just that. So let's get into it. Let's break down the basics. Now, Mercury is going to be in the zodiac energy of Aries all the way from March 9th until May 16th. So remembering when a planet retrogrades, they go forward in that area of the sky, then they go backward, and then they have to get on track and cross over that area of the sky a third and final time. And so with Mercury being here in Aries for over 2 months, we get extra time, extra attention to rethink, recommunicate, reanalyze, renegotiate, reconverse, relearn all the mercurial things in the Aries area of our life, depending on our own unique energetic birth charts. Now, also, the official Mercury retrograde will kick off on April 1st, April Fool's Day. And we think of Mercury as the trickster energy, right? He is messing up information. He is joking and joshing with us. He's helping us be curious and expand our mind. So I don't think there's any coincidence with the fact that this Mercury retrograde will kick off on April Fool's Day and it will end on April 25th. So it's about 3.5 weeks of us learning the Mercury retrograde lessons. And if you have your 2024 Astrology Alchemy Journal. You can go ahead and open it up to the Mercury retrograde page. Every retrograde is a 2-page spread. It's going to be on page 26. You can go ahead and see here what we can expect, a perfect time to add these certain activities to your bucket list during this season, do's and don'ts, and 3 journal prompts for you to fill out. Now, I do want to remind you, if you have this Astrology Alchemy Journal, I wrote it originally as the retrograde journal because retrogrades are lesson learning periods. They are times where we have to go back over something to course correct, to reintegrate, to learn what we didn't know the first time around. And so I put 3 journal prompts because it's really a time to reflect. Now, when you're filling out the journal prompts in here for retrogrades, I want you to fill out the same journal prompts 3 times. Once when the retrograde kicks off, so in this case, April 1st, once when the retrograde ends, in this case, April 25th, and once during the halfway point of the retrograde. And you will notice that your answers, as you reflect and you look back, your perspective is going to change. That's what happens during retrogrades. They are meant to change our perspectives, to help us see something in a new way that we didn't get to see it the first time through. This Mercury retrograde is literally that motto of 3rd time's a charm. Aries is bold and it takes action. It literally acts first and thinks later. And this season, as the sun is in Aries, we're kicking off the astrological new year. There's a new moon, total solar eclipse in the energy of Aries. We're really being called to finally act, take the spark, initiate, move forward on something that you're passionate about, in pursuit of your own needs, wants, and desires. Aries, me. But sometimes in order to do that, we have to just act. Stop thinking about it. And Mercury's saying, don't worry, just act, because I'm going to come back and find more information and more details and help you course correct and improve on the action you took boldly and bravely and fiercely. And then we'll get more data points, and then we'll have a 3rd time. 3rd time's a charm to make it even better. But we can't make it better if we don't even do it in the first place. And there's this element of destiny and fate at this time directly involved with Mercury's retrograde, because where Mercury begins his pre-shadow is at 15 degrees of Aries. And at 15 degrees of Aries is where the North Node is. The North Node is like our North Star. It's cosmically where we're supposed to be focusing our energy and attention at this time. In Aries, saying, hey, pay attention over here, do this, come this way. Aries, being bold, being brave, being fearless, stepping into our main character energy, moving forward in our pursuit of our desires, of our dreams, of our needs, of our wants, stepping into our main character energy. And where Mercury starts his pre-shadow at 15 degrees on top of the North Node, he will then move to 27 degrees and come right back to 15, where the North Node is sitting and waiting for him to return. And saying, hey, we moved forward, we gathered information, we took action, we did things we needed to do that were inspired, by the astrological new year. And then he came back to that place and said, okay, now we learned more. Now we gathered more information. We went back over something. We learned some more lessons. And now we can take that action a second time, do it again, do it in a better way, get more information that's going to help take this thing we did boldly and bravely without all the data points that we probably needed, but we did it anyways. Now we have more that we can make it better. So when the sun hits the astrological new year, don't be afraid to do what you need to do. You probably don't have all the information you need. You probably don't know what you're doing. But sometimes brave, bold action is better than never acting at all. If there is something that you've wanted to pursue, a change you've wanted to make, an action you've wanted to take in your life for many, many years, this is the cosmic universe lining it up and saying, go for it. There's fate, there's destiny. This is going to move you into the next chapter with flow and ease. So get on that wave and ride it. And Mercury's going to say, we'll get the information later. I'm coming back and we'll have more to move forward even further. Biggest thing to remember is whatever you're acting on, whatever direction you're trying to go, be willing to reroute. Be willing to find another path from the path that you start out on. So wherever you want to go, have your vision, have your goal, have your dream of whatever it is that you're trying to do at this time, but be willing that the path to get there may look different. So have a plan B, have a plan C, have an open mind, because Mercury's retrograde may inspire you with the information that's yet to come, to see it in a different light, to have a different perspective, to say, oh, okay, I still want to go there, but maybe I need to do this, this, and this to get there instead. So be open to that. Now, let's break it down a little bit deeper. I mentioned this is all happening in the zodiac energy of Aries. So I want you to know in your birth chart, where does Aries fall for you? Because this is the area of life that's getting this extra attention from Mercury. This is the area of life that you're going to be thinking about a lot, that you're going to learn a lot of new information about, that you're going to be expressing, communicating, and speaking more about, that you may need to renegotiate things in your life around, whether that's financially, conversations, boundaries. All this extra attention is going to be happening. Now, remember, the North Node is here, and it's been here since July of last year. So this is already a very fated time for you to change this area of your life with the eclipses happening here. The astrological new year began here on March 19th. So now the sun is heating up this area of your life. Then the eclipses are going to happen, and then Mercury is staying here for over 2 months. So definitely know where Aries falls in your chart. If you don't know, put it in the comments below. I'll help you make sense of that. I'm also going to get into the rising signs, helping you understand what relationships or what area of life may be impacted, because Mercury rules communication, and communication is a huge part of our relationships. So we'll get into that later, but definitely know where Aries falls in your life. It's an area of life that you're not going to get away from for a number of years, because even though the nodes, the eclipses, are going to wrap up their cycle in this Aries area of life by the end of 2024, we are going to have eventually in 2025 and in 2026, Saturn move into this area of your life, and he hasn't been there in 30 years. And we are then going to have Neptune move into this area of your life, and he has not been there in 165 years. So that will be the first time you will experience Neptune in your Aries area of life based on your chart. So this whole thing that's happening around the Mercury retrograde, around the eclipses, around the astrological new year is just kind of the opening chapters of what's yet to come in this area of life. So let's let Mercury gather more information, teach us some lessons, expand our mind, and get us mentally clear on what needs to go forward for the next chapter of our life. So let's break that down. Who is Mercury as a life coach? Well, what is he trying to teach us when he goes retrograde? And what specifically happens when he's in the zodiac energy of Aries, especially when that energy is given to us for 2.5 months? So Mercury rules over our mind. I want you to think of him as like our processing software, right? How we are learning, how we are speaking, how we are expressing, how we are communicating, how we are sharing information with one another. So Mercury is the messenger. And in mythology, he was symbolized as having the wings on his feet, and he would fly around and spread information. And so Mercury represents how we communicate with one another. He also rules over technology and transportation, because technology is a way in which we communicate. We send emails, we text, we share, research, we share information. And transportation allows us to communicate as well, because we are passing messages, connecting with other people by driving to their house, or, sending a letter to them. So Mercury rules communication and connection, and that comes through transportation and through technology. This is why Mercury retrogrades wreak havoc on our lives, wreak havoc in quotes, because it rules over this huge piece of our day-to-day existence. Now, Mercury retrogrades last only 3 weeks. This one, 3 weeks and a couple days. So yes, they kind of make our life go upside down or wonky, or reverse things, or make technology, transportation, or communication volatile. But it's only 3 weeks. This is nothing to fear. This is just a period where we're supposed to go inwards. Just wait it out. Learn the lessons. So Mercury is sharing messages. When he retrogrades, we are going back over conversations we had before, communication, information that we had before, negotiations, contracts, connections we had before. We are looking over our technology, making sure that, things are backed up, that information is shared appropriately. We look over our social media platforms, things that we've shared and expressed, we're going back over it. Same thing with our transportation. We're looking at, trips that we're going to take, or our cars or our bicycles, making sure that everything is up to date. Okay, that's kind of the Mercury retrograde energy. Now, when it happens in the zodiac energy of Aries, Aries is bold, it's passionate, it's direct. Aries is an energy. All zodiac signs are energy. And when a planet moves into that energy, it takes on that vibe, takes on that lens. It moves through that energy, and Mercury communicates, shares information, connects us in an Aries way. Aries is bold as an energy. It's hot as an energy. It's aggressive as an energy. It's direct as an energy. It is a little selfish as an energy, seeing things through the lens of what you want and need and desire. So the way that messages are shared can be a little blunt, a little direct. Think of a toddler under 7. They will say things in front of people that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they said that, right? Because they're just speaking the truth. Mercury communicates in a way that is direct. This is how I feel. This is what I need. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just getting the message across. It also is speaking about things that come from the heart, passion. So people are going to be talking a little louder, speaking about what they truly desire. So anticipate that, honor that. Also, because Aries is ruled by Mars, it's direct and it's in pursuit of something. The energy is going somewhere. It's moving forward. It's wanting change. It's wanting to accomplish something. And so Mercury's communication style in Aries is getting to the point. It is in the pursuit of change, in the pursuit of action. So it's making a priority, gathering the information, communicating the information in order to make a decision and get going. Left lane gas pedal, so let's get what we need so we can get going. And with that, we need to be direct, we need to be bold, we need to be honest, and we need to just cut through the BS. It's a lot of this energy at this time. There's this extreme decisiveness, this act impulsively. Oh, I don't have all the information. That's okay. I'm just going to do it anyways, and I'll circle back and get the information later. That is the traditional Aries energy. So thank gosh, Mercury is going to retrograde and truly go back and get more information and truly take time to gather more, which he normally wouldn't do if he just went straight through Aries. We would just be acting impulsively and doing whatever. And that does happen to us once a year as Mercury moves through Aries once a year. But this year he's like, hey, this time we're going to be bold. We're going to be brave. We're going to take action. We're going to do the damn thing. But don't worry, because I'm going to help you go back. And I'm going to give you extra time to think about it and extra time to gather more information. Now be careful, because anytime Mercury is in Aries, we can be a little bit more quarrelsome, a little bit more fighty, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more quick-tongued. Things kind of come flying out that maybe we don't mean to say. So be very careful the entire time that Mercury is in Aries, the 2.5 months almost. So you can feel like you want to get things off your chest. People may become like those keyboard warriors or have more fighting words. Be careful with what you're saying and how you're saying it. It may come across as aggressive or impulsive. There's this energy of, being a little bit more selfish, not looking at other people's opinions, not looking at their perspective. This is a great time where people are going to be real. They are going to speak their mind. So embrace that, honor that. We love that. Let people tell you who they are. Let people just say what's on their mind, because then you can take that information as truth and move forward with decisions. So we're going to love that. And there's not a lot of feelings involved. There's not a lot of water involved. So we're just kind of taking it at surface level, take it for what it is, take it as the truth, and use it to act, use it to move forward. Unfiltered. It's beautiful energy. Can be a little harsh, can be a little inflammatory, a little direct, but sometimes we need that to actually get going. Now remember, Mercury goes retrograde. There's some traditional do's and don'ts, but when it's in the zodiac energy of Aries, and specifically at this time in 2024, I want you to make sure that when Mercury's retrograde, we are going back over the things that we want to initiate, the direction we want to go in our life. So we're going to circle back, ask questions, get to the bottom of things. If you don't have enough information, you don't have enough data points, we're going to pursue them through direct conversation. Ask for what you want. Don't complain about what you don't have. Ask for what you want. Don't get your feelings involved. Just honor where you want to go and do the things you need to do to get there. That is my biggest advice at this time. So with that, I want to kind of talk more about the dates of Mercury's retrograde, things that you can mark on your calendar, and how we might be moving through this energy. And I'll pull up the chart here so we can kind of see it visually as well. So Mercury is up to a lot in his 2-month journey through Aries, through his retrograde season. So let's break it all down. You can go ahead and get out your calendar, dates you're going to want to mark down as we look at the full picture of the story of what Mercury is trying to teach us as he goes through this retrograde energy. On March 9th, Mercury moves into the zodiac energy of Aries at 0 degrees. Now remember, Mercury is our mind, how we're thinking, how we're expressing, how we're communicating. And when Mercury was in Pisces the previous 3 weeks, our mind was mush. Think of your mind as this processing software system. And when it was in Pisces, water, it short-circuited. You threw it in a puddle and our mind was mush. We couldn't think. We had fogginess and haziness and no clarity. And we're just relying on intuition. And we didn't really want to communicate a whole lot. Now, when Mercury moves into Aries on March 9th, we turn that back online. The spark comes back. We are wanting to express, to communicate, to ask questions, to share information, to take action, to learn new things. Like the fire's coming back in our lives. And then also on that day, Mercury is in a sextile with Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. This is an aspect from Mercury in Aries where he visits every single year. But for the last 250 years, when Mercury entered Aries at 0 degrees, he did not make a sextile with Pluto. So it's been 250 years since this exact conversation has happened between Mercury and Pluto. And sextiles are good. They're harmonious aspects between two planets, two life coaches saying, hey, let's work together to create change in the cosmic universe. Pluto is transformation, deep transformation, going deep, looking at what's behind the scenes, recognizing the skeletons, cleaning out the closet, and rebirthing. And Mercury is like, what information do we have to find? What are we digging into the closet about, right? How are we changing our mind and asking the questions around this deep transformation? So as Mercury moves into Aries, about to retrograde, at the beginning of the astrological year, where we're about to have this transformative total solar eclipse, on March 9th, it's like, transformation's coming. Information we're about to gather is going to be life-changing in a way that Pluto in Aquarius is asking us to do, in a way that he hasn't done in 250 years. We really kick off with a bang. And also remembering that on that day, Mars is the ruler of Mercury's entire journey that we're going to talk about from March 9th till May 13th, right? Mars is the ruler of Aries, so he's kind of the landlord in the background saying, you're going to play by my rules. And at this time on March 9th, Mars is in a fight with Uranus, so things are volatile, things are sporadic and unexpected and future life-changing. So this is kind of where it all begins with Mercury's journey in Aries. Then he moves to 15 degrees of Aries very quickly. He zips halfway through the zodiac sign. Remember, there's only 30 degrees. So from the 9th until the 18th, he zips all the way forward to 15 degrees of Aries on the astrological new year, when the sun joins Mercury. When the sun brings heat and life and vitality, intensifies, shines a spotlight upon the Aries area of our life, saying, all right, let's heat it up. Let's do the thing. And Mercury's at 15 degrees on top of the North Node. The North Node is the current North Star. It is where we're supposed to be focusing our energy and attention at this exact moment in the time. So Mercury's here saying, focus, pay attention at this moment on the mind, on the communication, on the conversation, on the data that's coming in, on the ideas, on the downloads, on the inspiration, on where we want to act and what we want to do and what we need to ask for. Aries, my needs, my wants, my desires, my future dreams, where I want to go. So pay attention on the astrological new year. What conversations you want to have, what contracts you're signing, what idea you want to start, where you are moving, the future, plans, because you're going to have to circle all the way back as Mercury begins his pre-shadow on this day. Starting at 15 degrees of Aries, he will go to 27 degrees. On April 1st, he will retrograde back to 15 degrees, hitting the North Node a second time on the day he ends his retrograde. So we're coming back. What's happening on the astrological new year? We are coming back. Now, just a couple days after the astrological new year, on the 21st, Mercury continues his journey, 15, 16, 17, 18 degrees, and hits Chiron. Chiron is a wound. Chiron is something that needs to be healed. Chiron is something subconscious that is coming to light. Aries is inflammation. It is making it volatile. It's making it heated up to come to the surface. And so pay attention on the 21st. What wounds, what traumas, what fears, what triggers are coming up that are trying to prevent you from taking action, from having the conversation, from negotiating something, from moving forward to taking inspired action. What fear What subconscious wound is coming up that is blocking you from taking the next step forward? It's going to be highlighted at this time. Then 4 days later, we have the full moon lunar eclipse, illumination of this area of life, having this ecliptic, destined, fated shift of energy. And Mercury's kind of involved with this because he's in Aries, and we're going to continue on forward. And a few days later, on April 1st, Mercury will have made it all the way to 27 degrees of Aries, where he's going to turn around and start heading back. So pay attention from the astrological new year until April 1st, because these are all topics of conversations, negotiations, contracts, things that you're going to have to go back over. And then April 1st, April Fool's Day, Mercury's at 27 degrees of Aries, and he is starting to back up. And this is where it gets wild, because from that day forward, he is going to now have to go backwards. And you can see here, as Mercury starts to back up, he's going to run into all the celestial bodies that are moving forward. So he's going to run into Chiron again. He's going to run into Venus. He's going to run into the sun, and he's going to land back on the North Node of Destiny, all within his 3 short weeks moving backwards in the sky. So let's break that down. So starting out on April 1st, he's at 27 degrees, and he slowly starts backing up. When we get to April 8th, which is the new moon total solar eclipse, he is at 25 degrees. So he hasn't made it very far, but he gets caught up in this ecliptic energy. The eclipse is at 19 degrees. He's at 28, kind of away, but close enough to be like, whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm experiencing, whatever I'm learning, whatever I'm communicating is very fated, it's very destined. Whatever you're sharing with other people, whatever information is coming through, the eclipses are, forcing that into your life to help you make a change. From maybe the action or decision that we wanted to do originally around the astrological new year, we're getting more information and more data. Pay attention to what's coming through at that eclipse that makes you, again, course correct from the original plan, from the thing you wanted to start on the astrological new year. This may be where we have to go to plan B or plan C, or find a new direction or new destination to get to where we want to go. Okay, this is the day. Then on the 12th, a couple days later, Mercury officially runs into the sun at 22 degrees. So now he's gone from 27, 25 degrees at the eclipse, 22 degrees. He runs into the sun on the 12th of April. Now, when we get to the 12th of April and he runs into the sun, this is the halfway point of Mercury's retrograde. We call it the Mercury cazimi. This is where Mercury goes behind the sun. He gets hidden. He gets blocked out from the sun. This is kind of like the aha moment. This is where I need to go. This is where the information is. This is the conversation I need to have. This is how I need to renegotiate. We find the solution to the mental problem that we've been experiencing so we can continue to move forward. So the 12th is our cazimi. It's the aha, the halfway point of the retrograde. Then we get to the 16th. The 16th, Mercury backs up to 19 degrees and runs into Chiron again. Chiron, the wound. Oh my gosh, I'm forced to look at this wound again, this fear. Okay, there's a new plan. I had this aha moment. I know the direction I need to go, but now this damn fear is coming up again. This wound is coming up again. I need to address it once and for all. So we have a second chance to heal the wound. Now, again, this could be like a conversation you're having with a partner. And let's say you have the conversation. Mercury's going direct, he's doing his thing. You have the conversation. I want my relationship to change. Okay, so you have the conversation with your partner. Does not go well. Mercury retrogrades. You have to have the conversation again. And the same wound is being triggered. The same fear is being triggered. Okay, that's okay, but at least we have the conversation again. We're going to have a third chance to have that conversation when Mercury goes direct and heal that wound once and for all. So don't worry. Second time, third time's a charm. Third time's still a coming. So then Mercury keeps backing up from the 16th. He's going backwards. And on the 19th, he gets to 17 degrees of Aries and he runs into Venus. This is absolutely beautiful because on the 19th is the day before the lottery aspect, the day before Uranus and Jupiter come conjunct. We all are going to feel like we hit the lottery in a different area of our life, depending on our birth chart. But this is beautiful because now Mercury retrograde is like, hey, I'm going back over that. I'm going to make it more beautiful. Venus, what brings you pleasure? What brings you joy? Let's add in that thought. Before we make the final decision of how we're going to move forward, did we think about how we're going to love that? Do we think about how that's going to add pleasure to my life? Do we think about how that's going to make me feel? Probably not. And now Venus is going to infuse the thoughts and the energy and the feelings of love and pleasure into the decision that we're about to make. We love this energy on the 19th. On the 20th, we have the lottery aspect that involves Jupiter and Uranus. So Mercury's still backing up at this time. So whatever lottery luckiness comes into our life, remember, we're not supposed to sign a contract, make a decision, have a final opinion on it yet, because Mercury's still backing up in the sky until the 25th. And on the 25th, he gets back to 15 degrees of Aries, lands on the North Node again, our North Star, destiny, fate, and the retrograde ends. And at that point, it's going to be so clear how we move forward, where we need to go, the destiny of our future. Oh, it's going to feel so good at this point, but we just need to make it to April 25th. From that point forward, Mercury will start moving forward through Aries once and for all. And this is where we now take the bold, brave, fearless action. Even if we did it, we're going to do it again. We're going to perfect it. We're going to get a second chance. Like, we have more information. We have more data. We know how we failed. We know what we weren't able to do. We know what we didn't know. When we get to the 6th and 7th of May, Mercury's going to cross over Chiron that third and final time. The wound is more healed than ever. We're expressing and communicating from a more stable, solid place without the triggers and the traumas coming up. We get to the 13th. Mercury is all the way back at 27 degrees. The shadow period is over. The Mercury retrograde wonkiness is over officially. And then we get to the 16th, and Mercury is done in Aries, and he moves into the zodiac energy of Taurus. That's it. Now he's in Taurus, blesses us, lets us think about the Taurus area of our life. And this 2-month journey has really helped us reevaluate, restructure, renegotiate, relearn, recommit, redo the Aries area of our life. Eclipse season is over. The sun is out of Aries. Mercury retrograde is over out of Aries. And by May 16th, it's Taurus season all the way. And Jupiter is going to do magic in Taurus the final few days of his energy here. So much more that we're going to talk about when we get to the May forecast on that. If you want more daily astro guidance, I have set up a Telegram chat where every single morning I voice memo you the current cosmic weather, the energy that we're feeling. I explain where to look in your chart for what's going on that day. Sometimes I do channeled messages. If there's new moons and full moons, I give you more rituals and ideas. It is your way to wake up in the morning, open up your phone, see a voice memo, have direct guidance on how to navigate that day, and bite-sized small format. So if you're interested in that, you can find my Telegram chat link in the description box below. It is a monthly subscription for only $11.11 a month for you to get your cosmic weather forecast. So I'd love to have you in that group. Join your Astro fam as we navigate this crazy, wild weather. So with all that, I'm just gonna sum it up by saying that make sure you know where you want to go, what direction you're trying to go in your life, what dreams you want to accomplish, your needs, your wants, your desires. Remember, this whole Aries energy is about us stepping into our main character and putting on our oxygen mask first. I talk so much about that in the new moon in Aries video, the total solar eclipse video. And I talk a lot about that on my TikTok, where it's more short format content to guide you through the cosmic weather. But this is really a time where we have to be open to moving forward once and for all, having that tough conversation, being more direct, being more bold, pursuing our needs and wants and desires, asking the questions, gathering the information, and trusting that we may have to course correct. We may have to go over it. We may not know everything about everything at once, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't act. And we're just going to do it bravely and boldly and fearlessly. And if something scares the pants off of us, that's okay. We're going to do it anyways, because we will find the information we need on our path. We will heal the traumas, the wounds, the fears, the triggers that prevent us from taking action on this path. We will have fated, destined experiences that open up the doors for us on this path. And we will infuse Venus's love and attention into the decisions that we make and the information that we receive, so we can ultimately move forward in a way that we've wanted to for such a long time. And the time is ultimately now. So I'm going to send you a lot of love and light. Let me know how you feel about this energy. Let me know where Aries is in your chart, how this may impact you. Let me know what relationships in your life you're needing to have some tough conversations around. And with that, we'll dive into the rising signs, helping you navigate where and how you should be moving forward around the time of this retrograde. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the astro forecasting with the lens of relationships involved. If you want to follow me over on TikTok, I do more short format videos, breaking down the cosmic weather, talking more about relationships, applying astrology to my daily life. So I love to meet you over there as well. And I will catch you in the next video. Let's break down the rising signs. So let's go through the rising signs, the areas of your life that you may need to have more conversations around, that you may need to communicate more clearly around, and that you may need to go back over some contracts or negotiation or unspoken words with certain people in your life based on your rising sign. Aries risings, this Mercury retrograde is spending some extra time and attention in your first house of yourself. So your mind is going to be on you. This is you being in your main character energy. So I want you to really focus your energy, your mindset, your attention on discovering yourself, who you want to be, your avatar. I want you to try on new clothing styles. I want you to journal a lot. I want you to ask questions to other people about who they are, how they see themselves. This is really a personal development and self-discovery time. Mercury retrograde asks us to go inwards, to pull back from communicating with others. And for you, especially Aries risings, being in your first house, this is about you going down a 3-week self-discovery time that's going to ultimately lead to you coming out as your main character, bigger, brighter, and more bolder than ever. Taurus risings, this puts this Mercury retrograde moving through your 12th house. So we are really looking at your relationship to your mental health. This is where things may really be coming up as Mercury is moving through this area of your life, dealing with your subconscious beliefs, the stories you're telling yourself, your mental health, your spiritual beliefs and practices. And Chiron, being there as a wound is asking you to heal these things. So if you're having struggle with anxiety, self-sabotage, thought patterns that are just not serving you, they're going to come up and you're going to have to look at them and you're going to rewrite them and rejournal them and re-speak about them. This is an important time for you to probably go to therapy, to talk to a practitioner, a priest, a spiritual healer, because a lot of mental stuff is coming up for you during this Mercury retrograde, but this is your chance to heal it so you can step more into your main character energy and possibly even step into the energy that you have around being a healer for other people. Very powerful energy, Taurus rising. Gemini risings, this is going to put Mercury's retrograding through your 11th house. So you're going to be having more conversations, more communication with your friendship circles, the people in your life that you associate with, that you network with, your tribe of people. And so there's going to be times where you are going to have miscommunications, misunderstandings, maybe more fights with friends, but it's ultimately a time for you to revisit old friendships, to reach back out to old people, or to reconnect with people in your life that matter a lot that you've kind of left to the wayside. Getting to know people in a new way, asking more questions, and maybe healing some wounds that you have in friendships that have been below the surface and need to come up and be addressed. So ultimately you can continue forward with these friends or end it once and for all. So a lot of conversations in your friendship groups and getting to the core of the matter. Cancer risings, this puts Mercury's retrograde through your 10th house. So there is going to be a lot of mind, thought, and communication and conversations around your career, around your purpose, around your legacy. So if you are at work, expect to have a lot of misunderstandings, miscommunications. You're telling people what to do. They're not understanding the message. You're being given tasks. You don't understand what you're supposed to be doing. You might have to go back over negotiations or contracts that you've written with your boss, with your employees, with coworkers, with clients. So everything in the career area may get a little wonky. So I'm going to really invite you during this Mercury retrograde to step back, to go inwards, to get very clear on what you're needing from the people in your professional life, and just accept that for these 3 weeks, things may not go to plan and nobody might be understanding what you're saying. If you have a job where you're working in social media or presenting or communicating and sharing information, you may have to rewrite, re-edit that, presentation or email or contract multiple times. Allow for that space, Cancer risings. Leo risings, this puts this Mercury retrograde through your 9th house, okay? So this is Mercury spending an extra amount of time in your higher conscious mind. So this is about you gathering more information by going on adventures, exploring your horizons, expanding your comfort zones, traveling, finding a mentor, finding a guru, changing your belief systems, changing your philosophy. And so you might be reprogramming the way in which you see life. You might be traveling at this time and really learning a new perspective, a new way of being, a new way of moving through the world. This is a very mental Mercury retrograde. As Mercury is honestly in Aries for 2 months, you might come out of this whole experience literally seeing life in a new way. This could be seeing, the medical system in a new way, seeing schooling in a new way, seeing what you want and how you believe you want to be in life in a new way. And there might be people that come in that you're having these deep prophetic conversations with that are expanding your mind in a way that you've never imagined before. So lots of information coming for you, Leo risings. Pay attention. Virgo risings, this puts us Mercury retrograde moving through your 8th house. So this is going to be your mind looking at the skeletons in the closet. The 8th house is all the things that you don't talk about at the dining room table, the things that make you extremely uncomfortable. Sex, death, money, sharing money, loans, debts, inheritances, taxes, your sex life, being intimate and vulnerable with another person, your fear, your traumas, the things that you repress from childhood, your spiritual beliefs, your connection to God and source and the divine. All these things are things you're going to have to face. You're going to have to talk about. You're going to have to heal. They're going to come up. So a lot of conversations around money, sharing assets with other people, miscommunications. Be very careful with signing contracts or negotiating money at this time. You're going to have to learn to become more vulnerable and honest with your needs, your wants, and your desires, coming clean with the skeletons in your closets, revealing some secrets. Lots going on in this Mercury retrograde for you in the areas of life that you don't normally like to talk about, but a lot of healing is possible at this time. Libra risings, this puts us Mercury retrograde and ultimately Mercury spending 2 months in Aries in your 7th house. So this is a lot of relationship energy. This is having conversations with the people in your life that you are deeply connected with. We're talking marriage partners, relationship partners, business partners, people you collaborate with, deep intimate friendships, even open enemies, people you have to deal with all the time that you don't like, but you're connected to them in some way. That is coming up. Mercury is going to ask you to communicate with them, communicate again, heal a trauma, heal a wound, heal a past thing. It is coming up for you to address. And remember, by the end of all this energy in Aries, by the time we get to May, you're going to move forward in these relationships in a way that is more healed, that is more aligned, that is more in the pursuit of you stepping into your main character. And the relationships that make it for you, Libra risings, are truly meant to be with you. So it's absolutely beautiful, but can be very life-changing at this time. Scorpio risings, this puts us Mercury retrograde in Aries in your 6th house. So we are looking at health, and work-life balance. Mercury is going to be allowing you to gather more information around your overall well-being, gathering more health data points, health facts, having more conversations with doctors and healers and therapists and nutritionists and anyone that can give you information to up-level your overall well-being. So a lot of your conversations and your mind is going to be on improving your life, improving your daily habits, a lot of personal development in this area. So honor this, move through it. By the end of this retrograde, you're going to have more tools and resources on how to improve your day-to-day life and a path and a plan to move forward for ultimate well-being. Sagittarius risings, this puts us Mercury retrograde in Aries in your 5th house, through your fun house. And so you're going to have your mind on conversations and connecting with people around what brings you joy, what lights you up. It could be passion projects or creative projects you want to launch and bring out into the world. It could be conversations with your children and connecting with them more deeply, being more honest with them, being more vulnerable with them. This could be talking to people that may have the same hobbies or like to play the same kind of sports as you. So you're really connecting and communicating and getting to the heart of the matter of how you can truly have more fun in your life and recognizing the people or conversations in your life that don't bring you joy and editing those out in a big, big way. So you might be starting a new sporting group. You might be starting a new project. Maybe you might even be talking to your partner or people in your life about children or having children at this time and coming to a conclusion or solution in this area of your life. Capricorn risings, this puts us Mercury retrograde in Aries in your 4th house. So lots of energy in your 4th house during this season, home and family. And this Mercury retrograde is going to have your mind on this area of life for 2 months, looking at your home. Where do I want to live? What is the energy within my home? How do I want to revamp my home? Do I need to DIY something in my home? Looking at your family life. Who do you want to live with? What are the dynamics within the family? Having conversations with your family, going over negotiations and contracts when it comes to your home or who lives with you or what that's going to look like in the future. So much information and mindset and thought and conversation around the family unit and around where you live or where you're going to live. And you're going to come to such a beautiful conclusion by the time we get to May in this area of your life. Aquarius risings, this puts us Mercury retrograde moving through your 3rd house. This is your area of life of the mind, of conversation, of communication. This is where Mercury feels really welcomed in the area of the sky. And so you're going to have a very mental Mercury retrograde. You are going to learn a lot. You're going to gather a lot of information. You're going to have a lot of conversations. You're going to think you've learned everything and then go back over it and learn some more. You might be a teacher or teaching others. So this is just going to be a whole whole lot of connection, communication. Don't be afraid to share and express and speak how you feel. Even if you don't have all the information yet, you're going to get more information, and you can rewrite the book. You can redo the podcast. You can re-share, re-communicate. Don't be afraid to express yourself without having all the data points or all the information. You're going to get so much more of it, but you have to start somewhere. So if you're someone that wants to start a podcast, start a blog, start a YouTube, start something on social media, this is your time to go for it. You're meant to be a leader, a thought leader, a communicator, a sharer of information because of your birth chart. And this is the time to really enact that. But don't worry about not having all the information. Mercury's giving you 2 months to gather as much info as you need to start this project and share the messages. Do it now. Pisces risings, this puts this Mercury retrograde in Aries in your money house, your second house. And so we're really going to be looking at and spending time thinking about how we're making money, our budget, who's supporting us, what are we spending our money on, who are we sharing our money with. Pisces risings, this is an area of life where you're really having to become the leader in how you're sharing money with others. You're kind of the dominant one in making decisions in household, in career, in your financial sector of life. And so right now we're getting more information on how to do that. Allow Mercury to bring in ways in which that you're supposed to spend money, ways you're going to invest money, ways in which to sell to your audience, sell to your clients. So there's a lot of thought and conversation around your money at this time. Pisces risings, don't worry. By the time we get to May, you're going to have clarity and know exactly how to move forward to get more assets, resources, and financial abundance in your life. Just let the process unfold.